Good morning, Predicted Trade family. Hope everybody's doing well today. Actually, I'll leave that on. Let's see, what do we have going on today? On the economic calendar, we already had a little bit of economic data drop at 6 a.m. and nothing else dropping today, really. Tomorrow, and I'm sorry, let me pull that over onto the screen. Tomorrow, consumer price index, CPI, and some beige book federal budget. And then Thursday, Friday, we still have more data coming out. So let's take a look. Yesterday, ES was already down pre-market. It dropped down into that shaded region, the outer shaded region, tapped that midline, and wicked back up, even closed the candle there, then fought back up to the daily 21 and a little further back to high a day before rejecting all the way back. Overnight, we are gapping down, and we came right down to POC, which is at 38. Well, it was at 38.28. Looks like it stepped up a little yesterday. But POC yesterday was 38.28, so came down and have tapped that a couple of times for a bit of a double bottom. Coming back up. We still have our 4-hour squeeze intact. Our 2-hour, 1-hour have fired down overnight. We're back in a 30-minute squeeze going into open. So it makes it pretty easy. It's very similar to yesterday, where we were already tapped the outer shaded region, going to be opening a little above it. Do we go down to test pre-market low, squeeze bottoms? Can we hold to push back up to squeeze tops? We want to get something similar here today. Likely going to go down and test some pre-market lows, this outer shaded region. If this 30-minute squeeze and 4-hour squeeze give out, the next target down is at 38.07. Because the squeeze and the shaded region line up well with POC, so if we can't hold POC, we can easily dip down to 38.07, and last month's POC is 37.73. Now I'm going to turn that off, and let's look at a 4-hour. Just to review that we are basically in a wedge on the daily. We have a couple of trend lines above. We have some trend lines below as support. We could get down today, like I said, to 38.07, 37.73 to test these trend lines if we are going to continue to the downside. Sorry. So again, let's see if the squeeze bottoms can hold, send us back to the daily 15, daily 8, daily 21. 3 moving averages above. If we can hold these, this 4-hour bottom and this 30-minute bottom and start to push and fire the 30-minute up, our 4-hour squeeze top is still way back at Friday's highs. So we've got our scenario for continuing down. We've got our scenario for holding and rallying back up with key levels in between. Let's see what we get. We could also just chop today to get into CPI, pre-market tomorrow. In Q. Also fell back to test the daily 21 and daily 8, which were overlapping yesterday, and did a pretty decent job of trying to hold both of those and double bottom, gapping down overnight, but holding above this daily 15 and trying to push out of this 30-minute and get back to the 21 already pre-market. So kind of look like we have our leader to the upside. Yeah, it's almost back to even actually. But everything's almost back to even. No, okay. It's almost back to even. These are still 0.5% or more. So YM kind of leading the downside right now. NQ kind of leading the upside. Let's see if we can get back above the daily 21 and 8 and push off of it. If we can get back above 12,000, next target's 12,100 and the daily 50, making a nice tight zone together. If we go back to to test the 15 and lose it, go down to squeeze bottoms and lose those, we could be heading back to this 11,677, next key level below. Already, like everything slipped below moving averages in that 30-minute squeeze. So let's see if it can get going back above 1730, 1732, back to the moving averages above. But I doubt anyone in here is actually trading the Russell. YM. Just grinding down these squeeze bottoms. Still has its 4-hour intact, whereas the Russell and NQ don't. But they do have dailies. So, sitting at the bottom of a 4-hour squeeze with a 30-minute squeeze as well. Let's see if YM can hold this larger time frame squeeze. Basically staying above 30,800 today. If we can hold that, and as you can see, if you look left from there, kind of the last bounce point where we settled. If we can hold 30,800, we can head back up through the moving averages, maybe even to the squeeze top. If we lose that 800, we could get back down to test recent lows. On Apple. Apple did a pretty decent job of trying to hold that 144 and the daily 50. I know sometimes we see it lose a key level and a squeeze bottom, but you have to watch price action and especially, check in on the first 30-minute candle and what it looks like. It did get down pretty much to this 4-hour, I'm assuming. 2-hour. So it did get down almost to that 2-hour squeeze, back up into that 1-hour squeeze at that key level, pushed off, closed higher, gap down, already fought back. So technically might be gapping up a little. So it looks like some relative strength in Apple, and they were trying to prop it up at this daily 50. So if Apple can hold 144, squeeze bottoms if we need to go down and test some of that pre-market low action. As long as we can hold, again, squeeze bottoms 144, 144 and a half. We can push up to yesterday's high in an effort to get back to the squeeze tops and 147 and a half. AMD, pretty steady trend line here that we look like we're going to be testing right at open. If we go down to test pre-market low, staying below that trend line, lose pre-market low, we could be heading back 74, 72. But if we can continue this uptrend, get through that downtrend line, we can make our journey back to 78 and 80. Amazon. All of the moving averages going to be getting tighter and tighter today. And as you can see, we fell to them and were contained within them yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon did the same today. Just staying in those moving averages. We could get chopped today leading into CPI. So let's see where those moving averages fall when the market opens. But as long as we can hold these pre-market lows, 10 and a half, 11, we can try to recover some of yesterday and get back to the daily 50 or that 115. If we give out pre-market lows, likely going to be heading back to like a 108, 106 scenario. BA did a great job holding the daily 50. Like we've talked about, we just need BA to stay in this moving average or move higher to support the market going higher. But we did get down to test the bottom of that 4-hour squeeze. So let's see if we can continue to hold that 4-hour squeeze and push back up through moving averages towards the top. If we start to lose that 4-hour squeeze bottom, we could be heading quickly back to that 131 and market could be kind of rolling over. Cat, pretty weak yesterday, gapping down. Almost back to lows, so still weak on Cat. We reject the daily 8 too much and we will go away from it. So let's see if it can hold 172, 170 to try to get back up to those moving averages. Google took a little break yesterday, some profit taking after this run up last week. And like I kind of talked about yesterday, in prep we can see a down Monday just to continue an uptrend if that's what they want to do. Let's see if Google can continue to hold 2300 and the daily 8 and try to recover with the market and head higher. Or if it's going to lose 2300, probably quickly fall back to 2260 where these moving averages are. GS trying to hold recent lows. We have JPM reporting on Thursday. We're at the bottom of a higher time frame squeeze. So let's see if we can hold this 290, 288. Pretty nice key zone to try to head higher off of and get a reversal at a larger time frame squeeze top to bottom. So if we can hold and get above 291, we can go back to fill the gap, back to these moving averages and squeeze top. JPM. Pretty easy channel, getting drawn by our trend tool. So let's see if it stays in that channel, loses squeeze bottoms. If it drops down, probably back to test 110. But if it can hold squeeze bottoms, get through, channel top, back to moving averages above. Meta. Very weak yesterday. Little bounce with market, but overall looking pretty weak. Let's see. As long as it can hold 160, 161, pre-market low. We can try to head higher back to moving averages above. If it loses 160, back down to 155. Microsoft. Pretty steady channel that you could draw as well on this. And from squeeze tops down to higher time frame squeeze bottoms. So let's see. The daily 8 and 50 held us up yesterday, almost made it to the 21. We have kind of tapped where the 21 was pre-market, and already back to the daily 50 and 8. So let's see if we can hold right there at that 263.75, 264-ish, and head higher through yesterday's high and a bit to get back to last week's high and squeeze tops. Or if we're going to go retest yesterday's lows, squeeze bottom 263 and the daily 21, which will likely be right about 262. Netflix big dump out of moving averages yesterday, and having kind of a little gap up, or at least maybe flat. Tapped 175 pre-market. Let's see if it wants to go retest that. Let's see if it can break out of this down descending wedge, we'll call it, or down channel. Let's see if it can hold 175 and break out of that back to 180 and the moving averages above. If 175 gives out, likely going to 170, and we do have that daily squeeze bottom down at 165. NVIDIA, same kind of descending wedge, down channel. And pretty much the same upside, getting back to moving averages. If we lose 149, 148, could be heading down to 144 to test daily squeeze bottom. QQQ. POC still way above at 295. Made it down to the 8 and the 21, held the 15 pre-market, coming back to the 8 and 21. Let's see if we chop around between these moving averages, or if we continue to fire this 30-minute squeeze up to recover some of yesterday to get back to the daily 50. Roku, same as Netflix, pretty big drop, looking kind of weak. But if market can get going to the upside and try to recover yesterday, he could get a decent trade back to the moving averages above. If we give out 84, 80, and 79. Yeah, shop dropped hard enough to get back to consolidation from a couple of weeks ago. So let's see if it holds there and can get back above some of these highs, which is kind of trying to test pre-market. If we can get back above 33, back to daily moving averages. Snow. Decent bounce to try to recover yesterday and made it to the bottom of this 4-hour squeeze. Pre-market, let's see if it wants to go back and retest that 152. Daily 8, 4-hour squeeze bottom before heading back up to squeeze top at 160. We've got a gap above on SPX. We did not quite fill the gap that we had below, but, you know, close enough, we could call it. Let's see if we are gapping down 13. We'll be gapping below that zone and be near the daily 15. So let's see if that can hold. Basically, if POC can continue to hold on ES, this daily 15 hold on SPX, we could get back to complete filling that zone and try to go back to refill the new zone, or the new gap that we created yesterday. On SPY, basically the same. You can see we're holding that 15 pre-market, so it'll look similar on SPX. And already at this 30-minute squeeze top. So let's see if it continues to reject. We could even get a quick pop to test the daily 8, probably around 384. With that pop could give out us stay in the squeeze and come back down to test the daily 15 and squeeze bottom 381. But we could get going back to this zone with the 8 and the 21 to recover some of yesterday. Like I said on Friday, you know, we had a nice run up. We got stacked on squeezes, didn't really go anywhere. We could see a drawdown day just to open squeezes up, get back to moving averages to take off higher. But we always have to be ready for rejection and trend to continue to take us lower if they want to get back to something key like that 374. I know it's 10 points down, but on Square, not really an interest here, but like anything, if it can get going back to the upside, it's the daily moving averages. We are falling away from them, so trend could continue back down to 60 or lower. Tesla. Well, whenever tossed decides to let us see Tesla, we'll cover Tesla. So, Tesla, pre-market was sitting up at that higher time frame squeeze, daily, and dropped right out of it back to the daily 21, which is going to be kind of in the middle. I talked about this pre-market yesterday. We can continue to push through this cloud to try to get to 780. If we lose this cloud and key level 744, last spot we bounced on Friday, we could go fast to 718, then 690. Didn't quite make it to 690 yesterday, settled around 700, gave a weak little pop and then back to 700. And pre-market, we got that 690. Let's see if Tesla wants to go back to retest this zone, 690, 695. Or if it's going to be happy staying above 700, keep checking back through these daily moving averages back to 718 and a bid to get right back to the daily 50 and recover to 744. If this zone gives out and pre-market low gives out, 681, 657. And VIX. We talked about for upside in the market, we need to see VIX stay below the daily 8, get underneath 26, and back down to fill this silly gap. Did not make it, right? It basically bounced at lows from Thursday. And went back up to the daily 8, closing around there. We are gapping up. We were above 27, but slipping nicely back down. Almost kind of filling the gap if VIX can continue this downtrend. And just like when we draw trend lines anywhere else, you could throw a little trend line here on VIX. As long long as we can stay below 27, below trend line, get below the daily 8, we can get back down below 26 in a bid to get back to 25, 24 and a half. And the daily 200, which has stepped up to 24. Hey, nice to see you. Right inside that daily squeeze bottom. So let's see if we can reject moving averages. Right, we kind of reverted back. Let's see if we can continue rejecting moving averages, head back down through lows to the daily 200. Or if the daily 8 is going to bounce us through 27 back to the daily mean, 28, and the daily 50. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Wanted to kind of just chug through it a little quicker today. Good luck trading today. We'll see everybody in the room. If you are new to Predicted Trades, this is your first time tuning in to us, or you are a recent subscriber, definitely come join our Discord server. You can find a link in the description. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, folks.